Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Tuesday, April the 9th, 2024, and I would like to welcome you all to This is Just a Thought with Stephen Carnegie. Hope everyone is enjoying their Tuesday or will enjoy their Tuesday. And before I go any further, hit that like and subscribe button along with that bell icon so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop. Hey, and get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think about what I'm talking about. Some of the topics, whether yay or nay. Like I said, I won't bite. I am pretty thick-skinned. Let me know if you enjoy it, or maybe you don't. Maybe you can suggest something else. I'm always open to suggestions. I always need new things to talk about. I just do. So it's no skin off my back. I won't get upset or get offended or say this is mine, and that's it. It's final. Not like that seems to be a popular trend now with us in society doing this social media craze. I oftentimes I spend quite a bit of time on social media, and I got to be honest with you, I need to stop because it's just consuming. But there seems to be this thing now where it's my word is final, that's it, and I don't care what you think, mine is the truth. I don't know how that's going to work out for a lot of folks. A lot of you are off your rockers. I'm not one. I know sometimes I may appear, but I'm not. I'm just not. So get in that comment section. Like I said, let me know what you guys think, whether yay or nay, or suggest a new topic. Maybe I can, talk about something else besides what I talk about, the boring, lowly politics or whatever or what have you. Try to stay away from it. I really do. Well, I really stay away from entertainment. I really try to stay. Every now and again, I'll brush up against it. But then if you notice, I quickly walk away from it. I can't do. Entertainment has been done enough, in my opinion. There's nothing more I can do to it or for it. It's been done enough. It's done all day, every day. So there's nothing more I can add or take away from it. I just don't talk about entertainment like that. Sorry, folks, I just don't. So you're just going to have to stick around and listen to the old boring conversations about politics and social ill will or whatever, what have you, norms or education or foreign affairs. That's what I enjoy talking about. And that is just a thought. Just is. All right, let's move along here. Today's word of the day, construe, which means to understand something in a particular way. Construe. Today's word of the day. Hey, man, the weather here in North Carolina, man, I got to admit, it's starting to look like spring. Look and feel like spring. Last time I talked to you guys, I talked about those freeze, not nighttime freezes and whatever, what have you, and that you shouldn't put your overcoats up just yet. You might can put them up, but then again, as always, this is the South. We don't really know. I mean, the sun isn't really shining here in North Carolina today. It's been raining or it's going to rain. High temps are expected to get into 64 with lows down into the 40s or whatever, what have you. So those freeze warnings and whatever, what have you, they're going away, which is a plus. But I wouldn't just, like I said, I wouldn't put my overcoat away just yet because after all, this is the South. If we got some freeze during those 70-degree days and then rapidly, as soon as the sun went down, the temperatures tanked down into the 30s, near freezing or right at freezing, it could still happen. This is the South. This is the South. I keep saying that, but folks just don't feel me. Temps tomorrow are going to be in the mid-70s. But, it's going to be a little overcast, partly cloudy, but we'll get out of that. And going in towards the weekend, they're saying Saturday is going to be 80 degrees. Good times. Love this type of weather. Not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. Unlike, upstate New York or out there in the Midwest around Montana or the Dakotas, they're getting snow. They're still getting snow. If you can believe that. Yes, you can. You better believe it. Hey, like I said, this is the spring, but the temperatures in those places, they routinely, weather really doesn't break until sometime. I've heard of them getting snow in May. So the weather really doesn't break in places like that, until, man, right before the start of summer or right when summer starts. So in comparison to some of those other places in this great country of ours, I'll take these warm temps and this would be, possibly frost late at night. I just will win it. And if it does come back, I'll take that. I'll take that. All right, moving along also, man. Hey, I know you guys have been glued to the TV just like I have for that NCAA basketball tournament. Everybody's bracket was busted the first game. Hats off to UConn. They did it again. They are the NCAA basketball champs with a win over Purdue. Purdue hung in there and toughed it out. Final score was 75-60 last night. Like I said, Purdue hung in there and toughed it out. But, man, hats off. Hats off. Has to be the best Cinderella story we've seen in a while. Very reminiscent, if you heard me guys talk about it last week or so, very reminiscent of the old North Carolina State team, the cardiac pack. NC State, like I said, they made it to the Final Four, but they just couldn't pull it out against Purdue. But hats off to them and that program and that organization, because they went on a 10-game or 11-game winning streak right at the start of the tournament. Well, I should say it really started in the ACC tournament and then transferred over to the NCAA tournament. They were on a roll. They were throwing some haymakers, and they weren't giving up. So hats off to North Carolina State Wolfpack. I guess Coach Keats will keep his job now. His job was on the line. So are they going to let him stay? We'll see. We will see. Hats off to UConn. Second time in a row. They have repeated. And another record, they're saying that they broke, that their win was in, it was in the double digits, 75-60. They're saying this is the second time they've done that also in the NCAA final game. All right. UConn appears to have something. They just do. They may be on a roll now. They may be on a roll now. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next year. Maybe can NC State can that program be turned around? Certainly was an exciting year, or end of the year. It just was. I can remember earlier on in the year when they beat Duke, I was surprised. And they did it again in this tournament. So maybe the old ACC Tobacco Road Showdown, maybe this go around during this era here, maybe it will include the old rivalry, NC State and UNC. Duke, yeah. Like I tell people, hey, at one point in time, Duke was not, they were not a top notch as they are now. They were an easy win. The old Tobacco Road Showdown was UNC and North Carolina State. So maybe we can get back to that. And some of us old fogies can enjoy. Not really a Duke fan, man. I got to be honest with you. I care about Duke. I just don't. All right, let's move along, man. Hey. Why, what in the world is going on in my lovely state of North Carolina? Looks like Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, he has some, in the Republican Party, they may have some inner wranglings. Looks like some members of the Republican Party aren't too happy with him winning that primary back here last month and getting that nomination to run for the governor of North Carolina under the Republican ticket. Now, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's one-time opponent and fellow party member, State Treasurer Dale Falwell, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson defeated him last month in that primary, and he's not too happy. In fact, he says he's not going to endorse or vote for the lieutenant governor's quest to be governor of North Carolina after that loss. Maybe he felt that the loss was humiliating. I mean, here he is. He's a politician. He just is. He's state treasurer. And he's been he's been in politics for a while. And along comes this young gun, hot shot, now Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, who, I mean, he's not a politician. He just won the lieutenant governor. He's not a politician. He's never been a politician. I don't even think he sat on any board where he comes from, Guilford County. His claim to fame is him standing up during that city council meeting and denouncing the gun rights advocates' quest to, as he said at that time, take away his rights to bear arms. And it was a fiery retort. I don't know if you guys remember that. Look it up. Now, hey, it's on YouTube, Google, everywhere. He laid down the law. He gave him an earful. So, like I said, he's not a politician, or he wasn't a politician at the time. Just a regular guy out here trying to live and enjoy life. So you have Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, who, like I said, has that nomination for the Republican nominee for governor. And looks like State Treasurer Dale Folwell, he's not taking it too well. Is he a sore loser? Maybe not. Who knows? Now, like I said, after that loss in that primary, he has been very critical. He's been taking little pop shots at him. Just has. Catty. Meow. Wow. That's what we do? Look a little catty. You look a little sore. Now, he came out with a statement to some reporters last week, and I'm quoting, "I am not going to waste my vote going forward in my life on anyone anymore. I have said what I said previously about why I thought I was the best person for the job. And it is up to the Republican nominee to prove to the voters, including me, why he is the best person for the job." End of quote. Ooh. The guy sounds a little upset. Said he's not going to waste his vote anymore on anyone. They got to prove that they're worthy to receive his vote. But I got to be honest with you. Sound like a sore loser, man. You probably should have been saying all of this before you got into that primary with them and lost. Now it sounds like you're disgruntled not only with Mark Robinson. It sounds like you're a little disgruntled with the Republican Party also. How can they put this guy up there ahead of you? I mean, hey, he caught not just the Republicans voters caught wind of this guy, and they said, hey, he's an all right stand-up guy. Maybe they're sick of you politicians getting, like I always say, we always know what politicians do. They say one thing, then they get in office, and they do the complete opposite. So maybe, just maybe, look like those old Republican faithful, the regular voters, the regular citizens are fed up with you career politicians. And they're looking towards this guy, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. I mean, hey, is it or is it not? Isn't it how pretty much, among other things, President Trump got the nomination for the president last go-round? And he has it again this go-round. Didn't appear to just be a regular politicians lying and manipulating his way through. Appears to be this is what, maybe this is a new trend. Maybe the Democrats could get on board too. I mean, hey, I'm just saying. I've said it numerous times, and I know many of you out there have said it numerous times also. You're just fed up, because I know I am. I'm fed up with these career politicians. They come through and they stand on their soapbox and they whistle and hoop and holler and slap and kiss the babies, yada, 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 rah, 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 shish, boom, bah. I'm going to do this when I get there. This is an abomination. And then when they get in there, they do the complete opposite. All they do is fatten their pockets. I think folks are fed up. And this guy right here sounds like he's just a little butt hurt. Nobody drunk your Kool-Aid, homie. Now you sound like a little spoiled brat. Well, you going to try to take your ball and go home too? Take it. Who cares? Get over yourself, man. You probably thought you were a shoo-in because you've been in North Carolina politics under that Republican ticket for quite a while. And you just knew you were in there. Didn't work out that way, did it? Didn't work out that way for you this go around, homie. Because the people have spoken, and you ain't it. So you can keep your little soapbox stance or sore loser rant about how you're not just going to give anyone your vote anymore, and they got to prove that they're worthy to get your vote. Rah, 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 shish, boom, bah. Who cares? You sound like a sore loser, man. And maybe you are. Like I said, I think you thought you were just in there like swimwear. You got your little feelings hurt. Ooh. Boo-hoo. Get over it. Move on. Move on. Now, the Democratic Party has chimed in also. They came out with a statement also. How surprising. The Democratic Party actually came out with a statement. Now, there was a Democratic spokesman for the North Carolina Leadership Committee's Robinson War Room. Robinson War Room? Is Mark Robinson really that big a threat? They got a special committee? Democratic Party? Did I read that right? A spokesman for the North Carolina Democratic Leadership Committee's Robinson War Room? Damn. Mark Robinson might just be it. Somehow, somewhere, somebody in the state of North Carolina in the Democratic Party, not only did they come up with this special committee, but they released a statement about it. His little quarrel, his back and forth with State Treasurer Falwell. Man, maybe I fell asleep at some point in time. I just didn't know Mark Robinson was that big a threat. Now, in this statement, this spokesman says Mark Robinson's uniquely fringe candidacy is so toxic that some of the most prominent members of his own party are unable to get behind him. Yeah. Now, he goes on to say that over the next 7 months, Robinson is going to have a tough time selling his divisive, job-killing plans for the North Carolina Republican and unaffiliated voters. He needs to try to win this race. Now, the job killing, I talked to you guys sometime late last month. I told you what was going on with the state of Connecticut. They're reaching out to some of these big tech companies and conglomerates and saying, hey, come to Connecticut. Hey, state of North Carolina, they're getting ready quite possibly to elect a guy that's going to be governor. He's anti-LGBTQ. He's anti-abortion. He's anti-rah-rah-rah, shish boom bah, yada, yada, yada. He's anti-everything that this nation is trying to move forward with, a new progressive outlook on life. He's not falling for it. And him and the other Republican Party, they're anti-this and anti-that. Come to Connecticut, where we embrace any and everyone, and you are loved and liked and respected. Don't go to North Carolina. So if you guys remember that I talked about that with Connecticut, how they were trying to get in touch with, like Google and all of these, and Apple and all of these other top-notch tech companies and other, the Green New Deal, with all of it, because, also here in North Carolina, a lot of time and money has been put forth with these electric car companies. We have quite a few. We have a couple that are coming, and we also have some companies coming also that are supposed to make these batteries for these electric vehicles and also make these charging stations. So as far as that comment go about the job killing, because like I said, Connecticut has came out. Their state legislature reached out to some of their uh, prominent members of the state legislature reached out and said, hey, they got together, had a committee meeting and said, hey, we need to get in touch with some of these companies and have them come here as opposed to North Carolina, because it looks like North Carolina's getting ready to elect a Republican governor who's anti everything. So, looks like the Democrats are chiming in also on Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, Governor Hopeful. Like I said, I really didn't know this guy was that big a deal. Naivete on my part. I mean, the Democratic Party has a whole special committee set up to keep tabs on him and combat his way of thinking and his talking points, I guess. Mm, mm, mm. Naivete on my part. Naivete on my part. I missed that one. I must have fell asleep and hit my head on a stupid stick or something. How could I miss that? How could I not know that Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson is toxic? Is that where we at? I gotta ask. Is that where we are at as a society? We say that someone's toxic because they don't agree with your way of thinking or your belief. Is that what we do in our own homes also? Because, I mean, hey, many have said oftentimes, what's popular in society, it mirrors in the household also. So is it that when members of our household don't agree with what we say or think or believe, do we call them toxic? Maybe we do. But wow, I gotta say, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't agree with everything that he says. I don't agree with everything, not just him or a whole lot of more politicians. I don't agree with any and everything they say also. But it doesn't mean that I should call them toxic or just dismiss them. It's their right. And I always hear this thing where it's their constitutional right to say what they think or what they feel. Yeah, I guess. But I always say it's their God-given right. We all have a God-given right to say and think what we feel. That's part of that free will thing. It's your free will to say and think what you believe. You just have to deal with the consequences at some point in time if you're wrong, or if it is hateful or divisive or toxic. But like I've said before, I just think I personally find it quite refreshing to actually hear a politician or a would-be politician say what's on his mind, say what's on his heart, and stick to it and won't sway from it when he has some pressure with those that quote unquote say elaborate or say it again. He has no problem saying it again and again and again and again. He ain't got no problems telling you more than once. I said what I said. It's very refreshing to me. I have just grown tired, disgusted, busted with these career politicians and them popping up every 4 years or whatever and saying or giving these speeches to which they think is something that you and I would like to calm us down, to give us all the warm and fuzzies inside. And they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And what is going on is an abomination. How could anyone think like this or believe this or that? Then when they get in office, they do the complete opposite and fatten their pockets. They just do. Uh, I'm only 50, and that's what I've observed in these 50 years on this earth. So maybe, just maybe, the United States is starting to change its belief system. Maybe they don't want those career politicians like that anymore. Like I said, with Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson coming on the scene, he has obviously gotten enough of those Republican faithfuls' attention that he's won a damn primary. And even before that, he won for lieutenant governor. So, hey, sounds like you guys in the Republican Party, those however many there may be that don't agree with what he says or what he believes, and now you're saying he has to somehow, some way prove that you should vote for him. So what are you guys going to vote? Democrat? You guys going to do a write-in? What are you guys going to do? I mean, if you're so hell-bent and so much against the Democratic Party, with you doing a write-in or whatever, or you not voting, you're pretty much giving the Democrats the position. Is that what you're willing to do just because you don't like this guy? Maybe that's just what some folks do. But wow, just wow. I gotta say, I really didn't know Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson was that dude. Looks like he is. Looks like he is. All right. Let's go get it. Man, I was sitting around and I happened upon this article. Like I tell you guys all the time, hey, I still read the newspaper. I just do. I know that it makes me sound like an old grandpa, but I still read the newspaper. I enjoy reading the newspaper. Yeah, I read the newspaper sometimes online, but there's something about just going somewhere or going into a store and picking up the old traditional, old fogey newspaper and folding it, and hey, it just is. There's something about it to me. Many of you may be saying, "Oh, this guy's off his damn rocker. He's a nut." Maybe I am. Maybe I am. But I stumbled across this article, and it got me to thinking. One, it got me to thinking how far times have changed and times haven't changed as far as it goes and relates to our youth. I know many of you out there, you had that unfamiliar and uncomfortable conversation. If you think back to when you were a teenager or what have you, with your parents about sex. Ew. So this article, what it deals with, or what it dealt with, and I really found it very interesting. It dealt with how how it says sex education is failing Black youth. The gist of it is they're saying that the sex education part, it needs to deal more with the health risk associated with sex too early, or sex in general, even when you're an adult with these kids. But it's really dealing with the youth, somewhere in that age range of 13 to 24. So apparently what they're saying is that there needs to be not only an emphasis put on contraceptives or abstaining from sex, but also the health risks that go along with having sex, whether it be sex with one partner or multiple partners. Stands to reason. When I was coming along, the thing they used to tell us as far as it goes is the health risk, and it really wasn't a big topic because this article also talks about how it really doesn't dive into the health aspect of having sex. When I was coming along, one of the things they drove home, because I was at that particular age during that moment in history where AIDS was here, HIV and AIDS. And one of the driving home or the focal points where they wanted to make sure we grasp the concept of having sex not even if you're just having it with multiple partners, but if you're having it with one partner, how many partners has that person had also? And one of the things they would say was when you're kissing that person or you're having sex with that person, you're having sex with that person that had sex with another person, or kissed another person who has sex with another person, or kissed another person and their partners and their partners and their partners. I think you get what I'm saying. It made sense. Just does. I gotta say, it kind of drove home to me and made me think, I am having sex with everybody. I mean, if that person that I chose to have sex with was having sex with multiple partners, or she had sex with a guy who had multiple partners, right? So that's what this article is really talking about. It's talking about the health aspect of it. Now, the CDC came out with, of course, the CDC is always on this, doing these case studies and reports. Now, in this particular report, the data found that of half the reported cases of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, they were from youth between the ages of 13 to 24. Wow. Wow. I'm sorry, between the ages of 15 to 24. But still, how does a 15-year-old end up with syphilis? Multiple partners? Or the person he or she chose has had multiple partners? Or the person that they had sex with before they got to you had multiple partners? It's very reminiscent of the HIV and AIDS thing when it first struck. And by the way, if you guys remember, sometime early this year, I talked to you also about the rise in syphilis cases in this country. That's on the rise. So apparently between the ages of 15 and 24, the study found that over half of the reported cases, the youth, it was on these sexually transmitted diseases or infections are on the rise. So much so they're saying it's 31.1% of all cases of STIs are found in African American people. And also 20% of new HIV cases in 2020 were among 13 to 24 years old. So between 13 to 24, the HIV rate has skyrocketed, or is skyrocketing 20%. That's a lot. And as far as syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia between the ages of 15 to 24, that's at 31.1%. Wow. So what they're also saying is they want to put a more emphasis on sex education. Like I said, not just talking about the sexual interaction or whatever, or what have you, but they want to put more of an emphasis on the health aspect of it. Something I also found interesting was that what they said was 25 states, including the District of Columbia, mandate both sex education and HIV education, according to this some institute. I'm not going to butcher that name. But only 18 states require program content to be medically accurate. So what they want to do is include the medical side of it, where they give you more in-depth discussion and illustration of how having multiple sex partners, contracting these sexually transmitted infections, how it affects your health and your day-to-day living and being. Not just the contraceptive side of it, or the actual sexual intercourse side of it. They want it to also include the health aspect. Might need to. I gotta be honest with you. You just might. Well, ain't no might. Yeah, you got to. With only 25 states in the District of Columbia mandating both sex education and HIV education, and with only 18 states requiring that there be a content that's medically accurate. So what's going on with the other states? Are they just, well, maybe they haven't really sat down and thought about it. Maybe there hasn't been enough information garnered yet as it relates to the medical aspect of having sex this early on in life and getting those sexually transmitted infections and how it affects you in your body, in your dealings, like I said, day-to-day living. They were going to have to go back to the drawing board with our sex education in this country. Now, also another study the CDC found was that between 2015 and 2019, that Black females stated that their first time was unwanted peer pressure. That's the age-old thing. It happened when I came along. It just did. And apparently it still goes on. Yeah, I can believe it. I just can't. There was a young lady in the article, and she talked about how out of all her friends, I believe she said she was around 15 or 16, maybe even younger now that I think about it. She said out of all her friends, she was the only one that was still a virgin. Everyone else has started having sex as early as 13 or 14. I guess that's why they have these sexually transmitted infections. Because no one's really talking to them about the health aspect of it. It's nothing new. The numbers are just going up. And they probably around the same numbers that in my generation and your generation, we were experiencing the same thing. Because this young lady, like I said, she talked about the peer pressures of guys wanting her to have sex. I think she's in college now. Wanting her to have sex before she was ready. So apparently also in that medical conversation, there needs to be a conversation or some content in these instructions where we're talking to these youth. And when I say we, it's obvious it's got to be more parental involvement, because I also talked about that also. Parents aren't still talking to the kids about sex with everything that's out here. Why and how you are not talking to your kids about sex with all of these diseases out here. And, okay, not even the diseases, but the mental burden that it puts on you as a youth to have sex, to when and if you have sex and now you have a sexually transmitted infection that you can't get rid of, it stays with you the rest of your life, syphilis. Those numbers are high also. Why you as a parent aren't having that a familiar, uncomfortable conversation with your child, I'm sure I would never know. Stop relying on these schools to do it. You can't rely on someone else to do what you're supposed to do as a parent with the blessing that has been bestowed upon you by the Most High. And you're shunning it away because you really just don't know. Maybe there needs to be some education given to the parents also. Boy. Yeah, it is uncomfortable. The conversation with your kids in sex. But you got to have it. What's the alternative? Sit around and wait for the bottom to fall out, for your child to come and tell you, or for you to find out that they have some sexually transmitted disease that they cannot get rid of, syphilis, HIV, or AIDS. And quite possibly you could have just sat down and talked to them and told them, hey, hold off, wait, no matter what. And then they talked about also that a lot of kids don't feel comfortable talking to their parents about sex. Still have that going on, huh? Because some of you parents are such hard, you know what's. I can honestly say I saw myself heading down that path of being that hard-ass parent. And then I thought to myself one day, I said, wait a minute, you didn't even like it when your mother did that to you. Why would you turn around and do that to your kids? Why would you turn around and do the exact same thing that you didn't like, that you promised yourself you would never do? And now here you are doing the exact same thing. Stop being a hard ass and just be a parent. You ain't got to be their friends. Trust me, one thing I've learned and one thing I've grown and now I understand is it ain't all about being a hard ass. It ain't all about being their friend. It's about you being a parent. And the kids will respect you for it. They'll come and talk to you about any and everything, whether they know what your answer is going to be already or not. They will come and rap to you, sit down and talk. And I would much rather my kids come and sit down and rap to me for a second, as opposed to going on the streets. We are all old enough. We all know how them streets do. We know how the streets give it to you raw, uncut, unadulterated, and it ain't nothing nice. It's going to be butt backwards. So I'd rather my kids come and talk to me from the youngest to the oldest. From the girls to the boys. Come talk to me. I'll tell you no lie. I just don't. And I've always been that way with my kids. Whether they like it or respect it, they know. If I want the truth, I guess I got to go talk to this fool. Hey, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. It just is. It just is. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. Hey, as always, get in that comment section, man. Let me know what you think, whether yay or nay. Were there some good topics I talked about today, or maybe there wasn't? Like I said, man, looks like Lieutenant Governor and gubernatorial hopeful Mark Robinson may have a little dogfight on his hand within his own political party, because it appears a few career politicians are upset that he got the nomination. Well, he didn't get the nomination. He won the nomination. Did he or did he not? So it's obvious those old Republican regular citizens and folks inside the Republican Party here in North Carolina, apparently they're buying what he is saying. And they aren't buying what you guys are talking about, you old career politicians. And y'all are a little upset. Oh, well. Get over it. And also, hey, let me know what you think about sex education. Is it failing black youth? Or is it the fact that the parents aren't really involved like they should be? Like I always say, there's only so much you can put on these educators. You want them to raise your kids too? Apparently. So get in that comment section, hit that like button, and if this is your first time, hit that subscribe, like, and that bell icon also, so you can get notified when I drop these podcasts. Keep you in the loop, and leave a comment. I want to bite, whether yay or nay. And as always, thank you for listening to This Is Just a Thought with Stephen Carnegie. Amen.